26th of May, Rabbi Levitt, substituted by Rabbi Fabian. Ezra.
I think that was a good rendition of the pasuk with lots of favorshim. Let's see who else is with us.
Mayor.
Well, I just came in. So
Okay, Mayor. We just read Perek Beis Pasuk Aleph. Lou read. So why don't you read? If you want to quickly just read Aleph, just to see what it says without a payros, and then go to base.
Okay, let me just find it. My bookmark fell out. I'm sorry about that. Bait Olive. Okay. Wow. Okay, found it. Okay, let me just quickly read this. So these are the people that turned to Jerusalem, Judah, each man to his city. I went overboard here. Okay. Where's Bet? Okay, so we're doing Bet now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says Asher Ba'u Im Zerubbabel Yeshua Nehemiah Seraya Re'eliah Mordechai Bilshan Mispar Bigdei Rahum Be'ana Mispar Anshe Am Yisrael. Okay. So Asheba, who came with Zerubbabel, Yeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Re'eliah, Mordechai, Bilshan, Mispar, Biguvai, Rahum, and Ba'ana, comprised the sum of the dignitaries of the people of Israel. Okay, so let's go to 2. It says, Asher Ba'u, who came. Those who came to the Babylonian exile with Zerubbabel, it's Rashi, not those who came now to Jerusalem. Our phrase describes the prior history of those who now returned. They had been exiled with Zerubbabel. Now, upon their return from the exile, they are listed. According to Yeshaya, Mitrani, and Mitzodot, however, our passage refers to those who now came with Zerubbabel from the Babylonian exile to the land of Israel. Zerubbabel was a descendant of the Judean king Jehoiachin. He is widely referred to as Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and he appears as a major Jewish leader during the restoration of the Second Temple. Addressing him as the governor of Judah, God informs Zerubbabel that he has chosen him for future greatness. The Talmud in Sanhedrin identifies Zerubbabel as Nehemiah, son of Hachaliah, author and leading personality of the book of Nehemiah. The name Zerubbabel is a contraction of the Hebrew word nizra bibavel, meaning conceived.
Conceived in
In
Babel.
Babylonia, right. Nehemiah was designated Zerubbabel to commemorate his birth in Babylonia. Oh, okay. The book of Ezra places Zerubbabel in Jerusalem during the entire period of the temple reconstruction, beginning with Cyrus's proclamation, extending through the interval of intervention by the enemies of Judah and Benjamin, and closing with the successful renewal of the reconstruction effort in the second year of the reign of the Persian king Darius. Throughout this time, Zerubbabel played a principal role in all of the communal affairs in Jerusalem. The book of Nehemiah, however, relates that Nehemiah learned of the privations in Jerusalem and immigrated to the Holy Land in Darius's 12th year. Where was Zerubbabel Nehemiah during the interval between the second and 20th year of Darius? It wasn't 12th, it was 20th year. Apparently, Zerubbabel had departed from Jerusalem sometime after the construction of the temple, which was completed in Darius's 6th year. He settled in Shushan, where he reappears in the book of Nehemiah under the name of Nehemiah, son of Hachaliah. He returned to Israel in Darius's 20th year. Rabbi Yaakov Emden raises two additional difficulties in the proposition that Zerubbabel was actually Nehemiah. First, Zerubbabel is listed together with Nehemiah in our passage. Second, Zerubbabel and Nehemiah are mentioned together in Nehemiah during the days of Zerubbabel and the days of Nehemiah. The reference to the days of Nehemiah indicates that the person named was the national leader. Okay. See. The first objection may be countered, however, by assuming that Nehemiah mentioned here in the book of Ezra is not the author of the book of Nehemiah. The second may also be reconciled. During the days of Zerubbabel and the days of Nehemiah may be understood as during the days of Zerubbabel. The days of Nehemiah meaning that Nehemiah and Zerubbabel were the same. However, Rambam, the introduction to the commentary on the Mishnah and the Mishnah Torah, let's see, Ramban, Barbanel, and Rodaya Bertanora from Avos, assume that Zerubbabel and Nehemiah were not the same person. Ibn Ezra offers an additional interpretation of the name. Zerubbabel represents the words Sharui Babel, residing in Babylonia, referring to Israel's exile in Babylonia. Okay. Yeshua. Ibn Ezra and Mitzudot identify him as the Kohen Gadol. Yehoshua, son of Yehotzadak. Ezra mentions that Yehoshua, son of Jozadak, and his brothers, the Kohanim, erected the altar for the fledgling community, and the prophet Haggai urged the Kohen Gadol, Joshua son of Yehozadak, to complete the construction of the temple. Nehemiah. Rabbag identifies Nehemiah as the author of the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah 1:1, let's see, recounts that Nehemiah was in Shushan, serving as minister to the king. Accordingly, he must have left Jerusalem at the same point and returned to Persia, as did Mordecai. See below. Shirayah, in Nehemiah, these two names are omitted and replaced by three names: Azariah, Ra'amiah, and Nahamani. Azariah, Rahman, and Nahamani. Ibn Ezra states that Azariah and Rahamiah are identical with Shariah and Raya of our verse. They were each known by more than one name, although Ezra refers to them as Shariah and Re'eliah. Nehemiah records them by other names, Azariah and Ra'amiah. This occurs frequently in Scripture. Nahamani, who is not listed in our verse, was still a young man at the time of the return and had not yet achieved the prominence warranted special mention. 36 years later, when Nehemiah recorded this a second time, Nahamani had become a recognized leader of the community, and Nehemiah inserted his name. Mordecai. This was Mordecai ben Yair, cousin of Queen Esther, and Jewish leader during the events of Purim. According to Rashi, all those who listed in this chapter originally came from the land of Israel to the Babylonian exile. Rashi, however, does not specify when they came to Babylonia. Was it during the exile of King Jehoiakim, the banishment of King Jehoiakim, or the final expulsion in the times of King Zedekiah? The question is clarified by the inclusion of Mordecai among the notables with whom the returnees had come to Babylonia. Since the book of Esther states that Mordecai had been exiled with Jehoiakim, it follows that the other returnees too had been banished with Jehoiakim. Yeshaya Mitrani notes that although Mordecai now immigrated to Jerusalem, he evidently did not settle there permanently, for the latter appeared in the Persian capital of Shushan during the reign of King Ahasuerus, who succeeded Cyrus and ruled for 14 years. When the construction of the temple was discontinued, Mordecai departed from the Holy Land. Rabbag explains that Mordecai journeyed to Persia in order to gain the good graces of the king and convince him to permit the completion of the temple. Let's see. Although here Mordecai's name is listed fifth, in Nehemiah's roster of those who immigrated to Jerusalem, it appears sixth. The sages observe that Mordecai's standing among the foremost Torah luminaries of the age had diminished, and he was the fifth greatest sage at the time of Cyrus's proclamation when Ezra's list was compiled, but only the sixth when Nehemiah's list appeared more than 3 decades later. The rabbis attribute this reduction to Mordechai's ministerial activities, which began at the time of the Purim miracle, when King Ahasuerus elevated him to an exalted rank of the Persian court. His influence was vital for the preservation of the entire Jewish community, but his diligence in the study of Torah necessarily diminished. As a result, his standing among the leading Torah sages fell, and he was lowered to the 6th position in Nehemiah's list. The Talmud draws the conclusion from this that the study of Torah surpasses even the protection of lives. The general rule that saving a life takes precedent over all the Torah's precepts, except for the 3 cardinal sins, applies only when there is an imminent threat to life. In Mordechai's case, that threat had already been averted with the death of Haman and the destruction of his followers. Mordechai, however, continued to occupy the post of prime minister in order to guard against any potential future threats. Although this, too, was a great mitzvah, in the absence of a clear threat, it did not take precedence over the study and teaching of Torah. Okay, Bilshan. The Talmud states that Bilshan was a supplementary name for Mordechai, denoting his mastery of language. Bilshan is a contraction of the words Bayil Lishnei, in mixed languages. Mordechai would understand the most cryptic remarks through word comparisons and associations. The rabbis cite several instances of halachic decisions that hinged upon the interpretation of obscure statements. With his genius for word linkage, Mordechai was able to uncover their true meaning. Mordechai was so called Pitachia because he unlocked words. He was expert in the art of comparing and extrapolating meanings of all of the 70 languages. Others suggest that Bilshan was simply the name of another person. Mispar. This is the name of a person. In Nehemiah, the name was given as Misperet. Yalkut Shimoni takes Mispar Bigval as one name and asserts that he was a member of the tribe of Levi and was still within his mother's womb during the ascent from Babylonia described in this passage. Radal explains that this derived from the literal meaning of mispar, number. Big Vi, okay, within. He was numbered and or counted while within the womb. The sages comment that this corresponds with the scriptural custom of counting the Levites from their early youth. Rav Yehuda ben Shalman, the Levite, said, "The Holy One, blessed be He, regularly enumerates the tribe of Levi in their infancy. Yochebed, Levi's daughter, was born down to Egypt in the womb and is numbered among the 70 souls who came with Jacob to Egypt. Mispar Bigvi was counted with those ascending from the exile, and the members of the tribe of Levi were enumerated in the wilderness from the age of 1 month. The census of the rest of Israel excluded those below 20 years. Okay, Rehum. In Nehemiah, his name is given as Nahum. Such minor changes in names are common. Okay, mispar, the sum of. Whereas the word mispar, with the comments above, mispar bigvul is a name. The word mispar with a patach is rendered the sum of. Anshe, the dignitaries, literally men. This translation follows Rashi's principle that wherever the term anashim is found in scripture, it denotes eminence. The dignitaries are those already mentioned in the verse. Since these distinguished personages led the others, they are classified separately. Those less eminent are counted in the verses that follow. The sense of verses 1 to 3 is then, the following are the people of the country who had followed the dignitaries of Uvavel, Yeshua, so forth, the children of Parosh, Rashi. Maxor Vitri, in the preface to his commentary on Avos, considers all those mentioned in this verse as members of the Anshe Knesset Gedola. The oral tradition enumerates additional great national figures who returned from the Babylonian exile. Rav Yochanan said 3 prophets went up with them from the exile. Rashi explains that the 3 were Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer and Yahud Shimoni indicates that Ezra also returned now to the land of Israel with Zerubbabel. Ezra's immigration to the Holy Land is first recorded in chapter 7, 1 through 6, 1 year after the completion of the temple. Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer and Yahud assume apparently that Ezra later returned to Babylonia and then ascended to Jerusalem a second time during the year following the temple's construction. However, the Talmud and Midrash Shir Shirim maintain that Ezra did not leave Babylonia until the year following the construction of the temple, as recorded in chapter 7, 1 through 6.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like the end. That was a longie.
That was very long. Yeah. Okay. Is there Lou? Is there someone else here besides Lou?
No.
Okay, so Lou. Okay, so Lou, your turn.
Right. I'm doing number 3.
Yes, number 3.
Bnei, excuse me. Farosh al Haim Me'ah Shiv'im Ushnayim. The children of Parosh, 2,172. Children of Parosh. Some of the immigrants are identified by the name of their family patriarch, e.g., the children of Parosh. Others by the city of their extraction, e.g., the children of Bethlehem. Malbim reasons that those coming as members of a family unit and that included residents of different cities are listed according to the family heads. Those who did not immigrate as members of a large group are categorized by the cities of their derivation. The families of Parosh, Ara, the governor of Moab, Zatu, and Adin were from the tribe of Yehuda, while Senaa was from the tribe of Benjamin. These families later contributed the firewood to the temple altar. They were therefore awarded the exclusive privilege of supplying firewood for the altar during specific periods of the year.
It's reason magdim in la mitzvahs. Right. So, okay. So we have the B'nai Parosh were 1,000 or 2,000 Alpine, 2,172. Nice sized family.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that to go back now to Mayor, these Pasukim don't have too much Parosh. We had the first two were, quite lengthy. I think the rest of them moved pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, four doesn't have any, so this is, let's see.
Just read the pasuk and then we'll.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Let's see. Daled. B'nai Shitat. No, I'm sorry. Shefatya. Shalosh Mayot Shivim Ushnayim. Okay, so the children of Shefatya were 372.
Right.
They're much smaller. Yeah.
372. Okay. Why don't you read another pasuk?
Okay. It says B'nai Arach Shifa Me'od Chamisha V'Shivim. So the children of Arach were 775. There's a little bit of commentary. B'nai Arach, the children of Arach. Oh, it says see commentary to verse 3 in Nehemiah. Okay. Their numbers were given only as 652. So there's a discrepancy between the two books.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe Lou will read the next pasuk or two. We'll probably have each person read a couple of psukim here. They're just
okay.
Lou,
I'm up
why
to.
don't you read it? Go ahead. Hey.
No, Vav.
Hey.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Vav. Right. Thank you.
B'nai Elam.
B'nai Pachas.
B'nai Pachas. Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry. B'nai Pachas, Moav, Livnei Yeshua, Yoav, Alpaim, Shmoneh, Meos, Ushneim, Asar. Okay, so verse 6, the children of the governor of Moab, of the children of Yeshua and Yoav, 2,812.
The big family.
Yeah, another big family. Well, that's two families, right?
I guess. I mean, it said, Pachas Moab, the B'nai Yeshua Yoav. Not sure exactly. Does it say any Paris on it?
Yeah. The children of the governor of Moab, Pechas Moab is not a name, but a title. According to one opinion in the Talmud in Tanis, this family was descended from King David. Another Talmudic view is that they were the descendants of his nephew and chief of staff, Yoav, son of David's sister, Zeruiah. Tosafos explains that the family members are referred to as the children of the governor of Moab because both David and Yoav trace their lineage to the Moabite princess Ruth. The story of her conversion and marriage to Boaz, as well as the birth of David, is recorded in the book of Ruth. In Nehemiah, their number is given as 2,818. Of the children of Yeshua and Yoav, Mitsudos and Malbim, read the passage as follows. The children of the governor of Moab, who were the children of his descendants, Yeshua and Yoav, numbered 2,812. The children of Moab, the governor of Moab was the head of the clan. The families of two of his descendants, Yeshua and Yoav, immigrated to Jerusalem. In his second opinion, Ibn Ezra